y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and today we're going to be making some little red truck Christmas tree ornaments. So let's get to the craft desk and get started. Let's go! Okay, what I'm showing you here is that I filed the inside of these little points off on my little cube box of the drawer because I didn't want it to look like a flower. And then I just take and continue following all the way around. I'm just using a fingernail file. Next, I taped off my little star tea light and cut off the tip using my utility knife I just showed you a picture of there. Then I'm going to take my black paint and I'm going to paint my little star black, and then I'm going to paint those two little Jenga blocks black as well. Then after I paint my Jenga blocks and my little tea light, I'm going to start painting the inside of my box black. And that's just going to help it enhance the light whenever I get ready to put the tea light in there. And you can either paint it black or white depending on how you want your tea light to show up. I chose black because I didn't want I wanted the light to shine and just see the little amber of the little tea light. That's why I painted it black. And I'm painting around the edges, but I'm trying not to get it on the front at this point because I'm not sure what color I'm going to paint my base coat on the outside. Next, I'm showing you that I'm going to paint this with cobalt blue. Now what I do is I take and put the cobalt blue down on my paint plate, and then I'm going to not rinse my brush out and I still have black in it. That way I kind of get a starry night feel for what color I'm going to paint this, and I just blend that blue and the black together. And as I'm going around, you'll see that I take and it'll be really blue in places, and then what I do is I press my brush down to squeeze out some of that black that's left in it, and that's what's giving me those blue and black streaks through there. And I'll paint all four sides of the box this way, and to include the top of the box as well. Next, I'm going to take my plain box that I haven't painted, that's a little bit bigger, and I'm going to trace out the dimension of it. And this is a piece of foam that I got from Walmart in a large pack, and it's just a piece of green foam. I'll cut out a white one as well for the little blue box, and this has adhesive backing to it, so I'm just cutting it out so that I have a cube instead of just a box with a hole in the bottom of it. And I'm just trimming it up because I want to make sure that the sides are not hanging over the edge of my box. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Christmas green, that's the name of the color of the paint, and I'm going to paint my box all the way around on all sides, the top, the bottom. I'm not going to worry about painting the inside of this box this time, but I'm just going to go around all four sides and then the very top of the box. Okay, the next thing I'm doing is I press my little star tea light into the white piece of foam that I cut for the little blue box, and I'm cutting it out, making sure I get all my points nice and sharp, because what I want to do is when I put this on the bottom of the little blue cube, I want to make sure that it adheres to the bottom of that little star tea light and gives me a place where it looks finished on the bottom. Okay, what I'm showing you here is that I'm going to take an older paintbrush and I'm going to use the Folk Art Crackle medium finish. And when I say that you want to use a generous portion of this, I do mean generous. You'll see that's the Crackle medium from Folk Art. And when I show you the top of this, I should have used all of that for the top of this because it cracked really good on the top, but when I got around to the sides, I put a much thinner coat on. and you see me pulling the stuff off the sides and moving it down. This is my first time using Crackle paint. My husband uses it all the time when he's doing upholstery work or finishing something that needs that old look. But I used a generous coat on the top, and the places where I got a generous amount of it, it cracked really good. But on the places that I didn't put this on really well, it didn't crack hardly any. So you want to be really generous with this when you put it on. And I'm going to paint both of these boxes, both the blue and the green, with this Crackle medium. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take my two Jenga blocks, stack them on top of each other, and hot glue them together so that they will be ready to put together when this box gets dry. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take two 12-inch pieces of ribbon, and I'm going to fold them and then tape them up just like this so that I can put them in the top of that hole that I made in the box that you didn't see me do. I drilled a hole in the top of both of these boxes after the Crackle paint dried, and then I pulled it through my little loop through, and what I'm doing is I'm making a hanger for my box, and I'm going to just tie a knot in that ribbon right there, and then I'll trim off the ends and pull it back up through to the top to where my knot hits the top of the box. And I'll do that for both these boxes. The next thing we're going to do is take these two Jenga blocks, and we're going to take that bottom that we didn't paint, put glue on it, and then put glue on one end, and we're going to go inside the box on the side that has the little hole, and we're going to put those two Jenga blocks all the way over to the corner and all the way flush with the bottom. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our little star tea light, and the side that we cut off is the side that's going to go up against the Jenga blocks. Now I'm going to push this all the way in, and I'm going to then put a little dab of glue in all the little points where that touches so that it just stays inside the box right where I want it to. It shouldn't move too much because it is a pretty tight fit. Now it's time to take the white paint, and that's just a white craft paint, and I'm going to take and paint both of these cubes on all sides, top and bottom. And you want to make sure that you don't go over your Crackle paint. You want to make sure that you don't overlap it in any way, because it does mess up the Crackle. But you're going to do this all the way around both of these little boxes, on the front, the back, and the tops and the sides, all four sides and the bottom. And I'll do this to both the green box and the blue box and wait for the Crackle to happen. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this white caulk that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take and go along all of the tops of the little Christmas tree ornament, and I'm going to make this my snow, and I'm going to go all the way around the edge of it, and then I'm going to put my little needle cap back on top to keep my stuff from drying out. And then I'm going to take a little plastic knife, and I'm going to just kind of move that around to make it look more like snow than just like caulk that's sitting on the top of my piece. And I'm going to just dab it up and down, moving it around until I get it to look like I want it to look on this little piece. And then I'll do the same thing for the little green box. Next, I'm going to take the iridescent glitter, the clear glitter, and sprinkle it all over my little box where I put the caulk, and making sure that I get good coverage so it looks like little bitty snow pieces. The next thing I'm going to do is, on my green box, I'm going to put a piece of foam on the bottom of it before I start anything. And then I'm going to take my 2-inch pieces of material. I'm trimming up this foam on this green box because I don't want it hanging over the edge. Then I got my 2 by 13-inch pieces of material that I ripped up earlier before I started the video. And I'm going to kind of gather it up here on the tip and make it more like a ribbon that was tied. And then I'm going to take and glue that right up there next to the little hanger on the box. And I'm going to go from one side across the bottom and back up the other side. Then I decided, okay, this is where I'm going to glue it. And then I changed my mind and I'm going to take it back off because I didn't get so much crackle on this box the way I wanted it to look. I decided to take this back off and do some more doodling on my little box just to embellish it and make it look really cute. So I'm going to come back in with my markers. My Sharpie is my friend and my gel pen is too. So I'm just making some little squiggly lines, little dashes, little squiggly lines and dashes. And I'm going to go all the way around the top, the bottom, or the top and all 4 sides. And then I'm going to come back in with my ultra fine Sharpie marker and doodle, making little squiggly lines, not being real neat with that either. Okay, I finished all my little dark lines. Now I'm coming in with the fine Sharpie marker and just making little squiggly lines. I'm not being real neat, just doodling around. And this is just going to add character to my little box. Then I'm going to come in with my Uniball gel pen. And yes, it's white. And yes, I know it's not going to show up a whole lot, but it does show up some. And when you're up close and you're looking at the ornament, it gives it more detail. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that to it as well. Now I'm going to come back in and glue my ribbon down. Start back where I started the first time. And I'm going to glue it to the top. I'm going to kind of fold it with my hand. And I'm going to come down here to the bottom. And I'm going to put some glue down on the foam piece that I added to the bottom of this cube. And then I'm going to fold it and go back up around to the top and gather it. Okay, next I just trim off where I wrapped the other little ribbon all the way around, and this is what we have so far. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my vintage ink. And then I'm going to just take my ink pad and I'm going to kind of go around all the corners, and I'm going to kind of put some on the material to give it that old age look, and this is just going to make it even more cuter. Next I'm going to take my little village pieces, and this is a little camper, and I'm going to glue this to one side of it, and then the truck that was with it, I'm going to glue it to the other side of it, and I kind of going diagonally across but yet to the front. You have to be careful so that you see me lifting it up there. I'm kind of gauging it so that when I lift everything up that it doesn't weigh heavier in the front than it does in the back. And then the next thing I'm going to do is come in with some little embellishments, and I'm going to pull off, get some of my bits and bops together. Now that I have all my little bits and bops picked out, I'm going to glue a little pine cone on there right by the little hanger. Then I'm going to add a piece of garland that looks like Christmas tree, and I'm going to put that on behind it, because what I'm trying to do is create that little forest look, plus also level out my little box so that it is heavily, it's weighted on both sides equally, so that when it hangs it doesn't just flop forward. And then I'm going to add some little red pieces, and I'm just going to add a bunch of bits and bops to the top of this little ornament and glue them down. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my caulk again, and I'm going to go over the truck and the tree and the little trees, and I'm going to add, and on the top of the box, and I'm going to add little places where snow would gather to make this look like my snow. And then I'm going to come back in with my little knife and dab it just like I did on the previous ornament to make it look like snowfall instead of like caulk coming out of a box. Then I'm going to take my glitter and add it to that as well. The next thing you see me doing here is I took 4 of the little Christmas trees that came from Dollar Tree in the packs, and I'm scraping off some of the glitter, not all of it. I want some of it to still stay on there, and I'm scraping it off all the way around all the little tips of the tree. And then this is what I have left, and then I'm going to come in here and doodle on each one of these with each of my markers. I take the Sharpie marker and then the ultra fine one, and then I'll come back in with the white uniball marker and go all over the top of those. And then the next thing that I'll also do is I'll go along the little red truck and decorate it up as well, going back over my little tires, adding some little shine to the little tire rims, and doodling it up with the black and the white Sharpie marker. And then I'll come in here and I'm going to draw in my little mountain range on my little box that has the little hole in it, and that's going to be kind of like my mountain range. The next thing I'm going to do is come in and doodle around with my next marker, which is the ultra fine, and then I'll go ahead and do the white one as well. Okay, after I've done all my doodling, I come in and on 3 of the sides of this box, I'm going to glue 3 of the trees, 1 on each side. Then I'm going to take my last little Jenga block that's already painted brown, and I'm going to take and glue it to the front of the box right underneath the hole. And I'm making sure that it's flush with the bottom. And then I'm going to come in there and add my little truck. Then after I've glued my little truck down, I'm going to take my last little Christmas tree and I'm going to glue it back there behind the bed of the truck on the box itself. And then I'm going to take the little bottle bush tree that came with this ornament and I'm going to glue it down inside the bed of the truck. So it kind of looks like we're driving by a forest and we've picked our tree and cut it and we're getting ready to go set it up for Christmas. The next thing we're going to do is work on the top of our ornament. We're going to add a little pine cone, and remember we got to make sure that we weight this box the same way so that it's balanced. Now we glued the tree and the truck on the front of the box, so we need to add that pine cone because it's going to be a little heavier to the back of the box so that when it hangs like we want it to. And I'm just going to add bits and bops in here on the this little box. Now what you see me doing here is I'm cutting this to look like another little Christmas tree, and I'm going to glue it on right there in the front of my little box in front of the truck because I wanted to add another type of tree in there so it looks like we came from a Christmas tree farm. And I'm going to just stick it right down in there in front of the truck like we're driving past it. Then I'm going to go back to the top of the box and keep adding bits and bops until I get the top of the little box weighted just right and looking really cute. Now I went back in with my caulk and added some more caulk to my little pieces at the top and on the top of each one of my little trees. And now I'm going to put glitter on all of that so that it looks like snow, and this is just too cute. right, you guys, we're back from the craft desk, and we wanted to show you the up close look at these little Christmas tree ornaments that we just finished. And this is what it looks like from all sides, and it just turned out absolutely gorgeous. This is for all those little red truck lovers. And then we have one more, and guess what? It has something special on the inside of it. Check this out. It has a little tea light that you can turn on and off. Isn't that too cute? You guys, if you like our videos, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe so you get notified when we upload our next video. And for those of you who aren't subscribers, if you're liking our videos, join us. It's free. That's it for this episode of the Crafty Art Shack. Like and subscribe and give us that big thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Crafty Art Shack. Bye.
Yeah, it's free. If you like our videos, subscribe so you get notified when we have our next upload. You guys, I'm not good at this. And this one's got that little special, yeah, what that is in there. Oh, let me start over. Hey guys, check this out. I got birdies flying around my head. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you later.